Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Take Two Podcast. My name is Brian. I'm your host here for episode 268. 268 straight weeks we've given you an episode of Take Two Podcast. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you guys for listening. For any new listeners out there, welcome. Lovely to have you. We are on all of your socials across the board. You can find this podcast across all podcasting platforms. And hit us up at Take Two Podcast on Twitter, Instagram. Follow along our page there, Take Two Podcast, easy to find. And then Facebook, we of course have our Facebook pages there. You can join as well. And our hotline, folks. Our hotline was hot this week. A little bit of chatter going on from multiple listeners. Thank you very much. You can text or leave a voicemail anytime, day or night. That phone number is 667-365-8253. That's 667-365-TAKE. T-A-K-E-T. There you go. Hit us up on the hotline. I would love to hear from you guys, and we can chit-chat all week long about movies and TV and all kind of fun stuff like that. And actually, a couple of the text messages had nothing to do with television or movie this week, but hey, that's fine. Hit us up, Take Two Podcast, episode 268. We're rocking today. We have 3 reviews for you guys. House of Gucci, that's going to lead things off. Saved by the Bell Season 2, and the Beatles documentary Get Back. The Beatles things by Peter Jackson. Watched all of those, and I really enjoy these types of shows because there's a documentary in there, there's a TV show in there, and then there's also a movie, a big theater movie that came out. The only thing we're missing is like a Netflix or something release type film, so we could really get the entire gambit. But that's what we have today. I hope you guys enjoy what we have. Also, the box office. We have our poll results. We have DC, Marvel news, Hollywood news. We have a bunch in there. We have heartbreaking, rest in peace. But everything along the way is going to be a lot of fun. A real good time here at Take Two Podcast. Again, thank you guys for joining. And let's stop rambling, shall we? Let's just get rocking and rolling here on Victory Monday. Yeah, Victory Monday. That's right, baby. Listen, I don't get to say it often right now, okay? But the Giants won, and we beat the Eagles. Like an extra little sauce on top of that is when you beat one of your rivals. So, woo! We won. That's sports stuff for you guys jumping in just on the movie side of things. Anybody out there in Take Two Podcast land want to do a sports pod? Oh my God, don't even say yes. Nobody say yes. That would be, if you think this is daunting to do a once-a-week show, how will we even handle sports? Let's move on. Let's start things off with the box office. Box office results. I'm bummed because I did not get to see the winner this week. It is on the list, but with Christmas and decorating and whatnot, my entire weekend was devoted to decorating. So there was very minimal opportunity to get to the films with the children because that's what we were up to. But Encanto is your winner. This will not be the last time we say Encanto. I do plan on reviewing it at some point, but also from what I am hearing, when award season shows, so will Encanto. So far, $27 million over the weekend. This is just your weekend numbers. I'm not including the Thanksgiving numbers, your Thursday through boat on there, but these are just your domestic weekend numbers. It does have a total gross of 40, so if you include the Thanksgiving. But just for the weekend, $27 million, just under 4,000 theaters. That is your winner. Number 2 is Ghostbusters Afterlife. Afterlife, there's a T in there. $24.5 million. It puts it at 87 overall. By next weekend, they will have $100 million. Good for them. They well deserve it. Should be making more. I really enjoyed that film. If you don't believe me, go back to episode 267 and you'll hear my review. House of Gucci comes in third place. Opening release, $14 million. Again, I just said I'm not going to give these, but I am. $21 million for the whole Thanksgiving boat, but for the weekend of $14 million. 3,400 theaters they only put it in, which is intriguing. I'm sorry, the leading theater getter there was Ghostbusters at 4,300 theaters. Whew. Eternals, $7.9 million. That puts it over 150. Good for Eternals. A much maligned film. A lot of very divisive. Some people go back and forth. Do we even like this? Do we even want to see this? Where does this fit in the MCU? Is this canon? All that. All those questions that us fanboy dorks do. And I'm including myself in there. So don't get mad at me. But it puts it over 150 domestically. Rock and roll. Good for you guys, Eternals. And it's on Disney Plus soon. I just saw that. I don't have it in the actual news, but it's not going to be in the theaters much longer. Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City, $5 million, 8.8 overall if you include Thanksgiving. Only 2,800 theaters. That's your top 5. Encanto, Ghostbusters, House of Gucci, Eternals, and Resident Evil. 6 through 10. Clifford the Big Red Dog at 4.8. King Richard, 3.3. Dune, $2 million. It's a 2.1. Is that what kicked it over? It is. If you include Thanksgiving weekend, Dune has not made $100 million domestically. So there you go. Warner Brothers got that money. They've already solidified that they're getting the second one. That I don't think that was a question unless this thing absolutely bombed, which, to be honest, in some people's opinions, it did bomb financially. But There you go. $100 million in, was it 6 weeks? I think it's been out, and you could watch it on your television as well. Not too bad. No Time to Die, and that runtime. Ooh. No Time to Die, 1.7. And then Venom rounds out your top 10 with 1.5. And just to reiterate, Venom is well over $200 million just domestically alone. So good for them. Encanto, your big winner, we will see. Going forward, I'm going to predict that it holds, to be honest with you, because when we get to the going forward section, there's not a lot in theaters this weekend coming up. The following, taking us to the end of the year, we are loaded. Loaded. But for now, I'm predicting that Encanto will stay right there. Now, granted, it only beat Ghostbusters by $3 million. 2.5, to be honest. So maybe Ghostbusters jumps back in? I don't know. Actually, that's what we should keep our eye on. Will Encanto take over or Ghostbusters? All right, box office stuff. This is where we're going to announce a giveaway. Giveaway. Giveaway time. I have some fun Take Two Podcast merch that I'm going to give away, as well as some Spider-Man stuff that we're going to give away for whomever can predict the opening weekend domestic numbers. That's what we always deal with here at Take Two Podcast. Just your opening weekend, Friday through Sunday night, and your domestic numbers. That's all we're looking for here. For December 17th coming up, Spider-Man opens up. I will be reminding you guys of this all the way through. You must have your guesses in no later than December 14th. So December 14th, 11:59 p.m. I will be awake, so I will be taking all of your guesses. You can text that in. You can DM me. Please slide right on into my DMs. You can voicemail it in, or hit me up on the side. Whatever you guys want to do. Tweet it, whatever, what have you. Your guess for the opening weekend for Spider-Man No Way Home will win you some merch. And on our socials, if you follow on the socials, I'll start putting up pictures and videos of said merch that you will win, and for free for you. So we will do Price is Right rules. I am a big Bob Barker guy. That's a weird sentence to say. Who's a big Bob Barker guy? But we will stick with Price is Right rules. So be careful. Don't just come in and say a bajillion dollars here, because it's looking that way. There's your intro. I will be reminding you guys of this a lot going forward. Get your picks in as soon as you can. Whomever is closest to the opening weekend number to the dollar without going over will win some merch, some free stuff. So it can't hurt you just to take a wild stab at it. We will talk a little bit later more about No Way Home and the money that it'll probably be making when we get to story time. That's later on. We will get to story time. Okay, done with the box office. Let's move right into the poll results. Poll results. I got two folks mentioned that they heard the new intro, and a couple of the new segment intro songs. We're mixing things up. I don't think I'm done yet. A couple of the other segments were still the older ones, so I think I'm going to change them as well. Although I did promise John to always keep it is John, former co-host of both this show and former co-host of T3 Pod Network. That is his voice for the casting couch, and I did promise him many moons ago to never drop that. So we'll see. But I feel bad if it's not across the board type thing. But either way, if anybody has noticed the new intro, if you hate the new intro, hit me up. Let me know. We've had that intro for such a long time that I thought, let's spice it up. Let's get something a little more jazzy. I want you guys, when you come to Take Two Podcast, to be like in a great mood, like boom, starting my Tuesday off, the high energy show here. So let me know if you guys like it and you like the new segment, interludes, if you will. All right, poll results. It was Thanksgiving. It was Thursday. That's when we do our poll. We drop the poll every single Thursday. It lasts you through Sunday. So I was just like, what do you think I was thinking about? Food. All right, you guys. Most of you guys know my waistline. It ain't thin. But food was on the brain, and I kind of diverted away from it. I was legit at first just going to say, what's your favorite Thanksgiving Day food? What is your favorite side dish, maybe, right? Exclude turkey from this. But then I thought, let's try and keep it movie related. So then I was just like, very broad, folks. Very broad question. Favorite film with food. Okay, it could be in the title. It could be a food scene that happens in there. Maybe there's some big restaurant scene. A couple are talking and yes. I'll have what she's having. Okay. Trivia time. What movie is that from? Hit me up. All right, double trivia time. Ready? What movie is that from? That quote. And whom is the actress that says I'll have what she's having? There's a little fun trivia and a fun fact involved in there. And later on, we will give our trivia time winner from last week. There's your trivia time for this week. I need to pull that video. I'm sure that looked fantastic. My eyes are closed. All right. Anyway, so I wanted to know just broad, what movie with food in any capacity did you have? On Twitter, I threw up Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, American Pie, Sausage Party, and Ratatouille. Those are the 4 options on Twitter, but please comment below anytime you guys so wish. For there, Willy Wonka wins 39%. American Pie comes in at 33%. Now, I didn't specify old Willy, new Willy, whichever Willy you guys wanted to go with. But then Ratatouille and Sausage Party tied at 14%. Geek Peak podcast, they jump in there and they commented, I'm not sure how they voted, but they commented in there, we think Willy Wonka is winning simply because not enough people have seen Sausage Party. Probably valid. Probably true. Over on Instagram, Bo comes in there and says Sausage Party. Says, once you go taco, Bo, did we see that movie together? I feel like you and I went to the movies and saw that together. That's a weird movie for 2 dudes to see together, but I think we may have. I don't know. And then we got a little comment on the Instagram that moviesforfoodies.com said for more info on all movie-involved foods in movies, head on over to us. So there you go, moviesforfoodies.com. I'll throw you a plug. We don't have very many listeners, but there you go, Movies for Foodies. And then lastly, on Facebook, we only have one commenter. Joe More Whiskey says Animal House. And see, that's exactly where my head was too, where I was thinking of the comment below. I even had that listed for one of the Twitter options. I was thinking, ooh, could I put Animal House in there? The food fight, the whole big thing, when Bluto is a zit, all those kind of things. Like, there's very much a lot of food and beverage involved in there. So good call on that. I think the wiener will just have to remain Willy Wonka. Although Sausage Party did get 2 more votes, which might have bumped it up. I despise the movie Willy Wonka. Hot take. Oh my God, I hate that movie. The Oompa Loompas scare the crap out of me. My brother and sister used to Oompa Loompa. Oh God, I can't even do it. They would sing it like through the walls as I was trying to sleep sometimes. Hate that movie. Despise it. I never even watched the deaf one because I despise it. All right, box office is done. I changed my mind. Wonka, you're not the winner because I despise it. Violet, you're turning Violet. Violet? Maybe American Pie, because that's where I would have voted. Or Joe, since you commented with the Animal House, why not Sausage Party, man? Anybody out there, raise your hand if you've not seen Sausage Party. Like, that is one of those, it is so god-awful. It is so god-awful that you have to watch it and turn off the brain and just go in and have a good time. Because you're just like, what the Lord am I watching? I mean, just the hot dog into the bun and the thing and the... See, it's so bad you laugh, right? It's one of those films. That's what we should do. Specialty episode. Who wants to jump on to a specialty episode of movies that are so bad you love them? Let's hit me up at Take Two Podcast on Twitter, 667-365-8253. Episode 268. Thank you guys for joining. Now we're going to jump right into our review section. Looking forward to this because we have some serious thoughts. House of Gucci. I saw one of the greatest tweets of all time. Random lady put a picture of... Man, I don't even know what it was from. I think it was an Elvira sketch, but she's got 2 dudes playing Mario and Luigi. I mean, this thing looked like a B-level porn, is what it looked like. It's just the photo, but they're in their full, and it said, live look at Gaga and Leto and Driver as in House of Gucci. I laughed. Anyway, they saw this movie. You laughed. Check your timestamps, guys. I won't be very spoilery here, but if you want to jump around and you haven't seen this yet, feel free to fast forward. The box office results kind of claim that maybe many of you have not seen this. Packed movie house. And I think the majority of the folks that went into this film went into it with a different mindset than I did. I went into this mindset of, we have an awards player here. I was expecting an awards player where a lot of these performances are going to be strong. The story is going to be strong. That's how it was sold to me. But so I think some other people went into this thinking I'm going to have a good time with some over-the-top campiness. We are going to make fun of some of these over-the-top Italians a little bit. And I will say, as a half Italian, I was not offended with what they were doing, but it was just very over-the-top-ish. They really bought into that 70s and early 80s style and of what they were doing and throughout the 80s. Driver plays Maurizio Gucci. Gaga is Patrizia Reggiani, whom they get married. Pacino is Aldo Gucci. I was a little worried when we first saw that very first trailer. If you guys remember way back when we used to do something called Trailer Talk and went over this trailer, the one part of the trailer I did not like was Pacino because he looked just too Pacino to me. I was wrong there. I was wrong. Pacino does a great job in this film. He goes back to his acting chops. And then there's one scene where he yells at Leto. And my whole thought was, if I was Leto, I would be like, oh my God, Michael Corleone just yelled at me, because he goes straight like Michael Corleone, like when he's screaming at Kate, like, don't ask me about my business, like the table slap and everything, get right into his face. I was like, oh, that would have been awesome. Like, I would have broke. There's no way, no professionalism whatsoever. I would have probably broke before they even said cut if I was Leto, but he didn't, because Leto's a solid actor. Leto keeps choosing roles that it's like, Jared, we get it, man. We know you can act. Like, we get it. You're not just the lead singer anymore. You're a quality actor. You've got the chops. Very good. But he keeps choosing roles. It's like, all right, man. Like, he likes to go to the extreme. And it's not bad. And he never does a bad job. This might be his campiest performance. And maybe like out of place performance. I wonder if this performance was not in this film, if I would have taken this film more seriously. But maybe this is what Ridley Scott wanted to do. Maybe they just wanted to really make it how Paolo Gucci was so over the top. And he wanted Leto to very much so buy into it. And he did. And he does a great job. Okay, real quick. I'm sorry. I'm all over the place. This is about the Gucci Empire. This is how Maurizio comes into power. You know, his father, played by Jeremy Irons, Rodolfo Gucci, kicks him out. Then he brings him back in. And then he takes over when his father passes away. Hey, guys, this is all true story stuff. So I'm not giving away anything. What's her name? Gaga, Patrizia, she marries into it. She comes from not a lot of money. It's not like she's dirt poor. Her father owns a trucking business, but it's looked down upon with the fashion folks. And so she marries in, and then she kind of like buys in hardcore, tries to take over a little bit herself. Pacino has, it's the godfather of fashion is what I've seen as described as this tale. And that's it. And for those of you who know, Gucci's fate, Maurizio Gucci, his fate or whatever. Jack Houston does a great job as De Sol, Domenico De Sol. He does a really good job in here. I barely even recognize Jack Houston. I'm thinking last time I saw him, he only had half a face. Boardwalk Empire, he was the half a face guy. And I was like, oh, well, that's what the other half looks like. Anywho, the movie is a ride, okay? It is all over the place. It spans 30 years quickly, very quickly. It time jumps without telling you it's time jumping. It's like, oh, they had a baby. Oh, the baby's 7. Whatever, but it just flawlessly just smooths in there. There are some quick edits in this, like very quick edits. I'm not sure what Ridley wanted to do here, but we were like boom, 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 with some of the editing, like so quick. So the flow of this filming of this film and the pacing in this film is very wow. Like, we're just chugging along, baby. We don't bother with any backstory. It starts off when Gaga and Driver, they meet. They start dating. That's what this movie's about. We don't give a hoot what you were beforehand, right? They kind of tell you as it goes on. And then from there, it's just like bing, 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 which is appreciated. At a 2-hour and 40-minute film, I'm glad that it went quick-paced. I will say there were multiple times where I was like, watch checking. I was like, all right, come on, man. I'm just not loving this. Now, that's where I think my mindset may have been a factor here. And folks, you might do this as you go into a movie expecting something, don't get it, now you don't like it. And it's our own fault, not to you're a bad moviegoer or a bad watcher, or it's your fault this movie sucked. But your mindset is not what you were expecting, so therefore it was bad. If I had gone into this just expecting a campy ride, I, like my theater, might have loved it. There were some folks that laughed. I mean, laughed at some jokes. And there's some good jokes in here. There are some funny one-liners and some funny moments. And Leto's performance is very over the top. But like a couple of those where you're like looking like, did I miss a punchline? Did I miss what was just said right there? Because, lady, woo, you are cracking up. All the acting performances here are solid. Again, Pacino, I was like, woo. Jeremy Irons plays that jerk so well. He plays that older, subdued, mean father. He can play that very well. Very ska. And Driver, I think, is given the least amount to do. His character choices in the third act of the film are disappointing. And it's like, where did that come from? I think that's where my not love of the movie comes. Where it's like, well, you didn't give me that. You didn't give me a build up to that character choice. How did that happen? Where did that come from? All right, I guess if I add up A, C, and D, yes, that equals F. Nah, I don't know. So Driver, I was the most disappointed just in the character development. He acts fine. He's just not giving a ton to do. His accent is fine. He's not over the top with it. Gaga, very over the top with her accent. Fun to listen to. She does a great job. She probably turns in the best performance of the film by far. Her character arc is great, where she goes from, I know what I want, I see what I want, I'm falling in love type thing, but to now, I'm the queen of Gucci, I'm owning things, and she's very fired up. pushing back against other brass, other management, and then the character even goes now back the other way, down the other way, 180, where she's psycho. But then again, her character goes from, oh no, I'm heartbroken, to I'm taking this to this level. Where did that come from? I totally missed like that. I missed that scene in there. So I think that's where my disdain for the movie comes from. Disdain's too strong a word, where like a lot of things just didn't hold for me. Why did they make that choice? Why did that happen? Why you didn't explain that to me? Is that me being too cinephile? Maybe. Don't not see this film, because I do think we'll hear it award season in time, folks. So once you get the opportunity to do it, if you want to see it, don't let me deter you. Go see it. Here's my advice. Don't go into this thinking you're getting this big, huge award season, the Oscar play film. This film can be fun. I feel like if I go back and rewatch this with my wife, and I just say, honey, we just kind of like sit back and enjoy the fun of this movie, don't read into so much, okay, it could be kind of neat. Costume design, we're going to get a nomination out of, probably some sets we'll get a nomination out of, things of that nature we'll get a nom. And then acting, Gaga, probably. Leto. I mean, Leto's putting on a performance. Is it a best performance? I don't know. Salma Hayek, they make unattractive. That should be an award to make that lady not look attractive. Everybody else, everybody else is fine. This movie just, the pacing is very all out of sorts to me. And the plot line is a bit out of sorts. A lot of things don't hold water in the end. Why did these decisions get made? All right, I guess I can see that. Cool type deal. The rest of it, meh. Again, we'll wrap here. And I would love to have an in-depth discussion with some folks where we can get into some things, I guess you would call them spoilers, later if you so desire. If you want to see this movie, do it, man. Go watch it. The only thing I can say is just kind of pump your brakes on what you're diving into. If you're on the fence and you have a Saturday free, go check it out, man. Go to the theaters. Give them the money. The industry could use it. And but if you are on the negative side, wait. Award season time. Don't be shocked if we see a few things in here, and you might need to see it to be a completist. I do not believe we will get a Best Picture nomination out of this crazy ride. Absolutely crazy film. This is an absolutely nuts movie that I was not expecting. But there you go. All right, House of Gucci. We are done with House of Gucci. Let's move on to Saved by the Bell. When I wake up in the morning, the alarm goes out a warning. I don't think I'll ever... Season 2 of... it's weird. I almost keep calling this Saved by the Bell the new class, forgetting that we had Saved by the Bell the new class. So you can't even call it that. This is just called Saved by the Bell. All right, here's my main point of watching these 10 episodes. All it made me want to do, go back and binge the original series, the OG series. Maybe start just after Miss Bliss when they're at Bayside and go forward. That's it. It's fun. The storyline is fun. They do involve Zach, Kelly, Slater, Jesse more in this, which was nice. And they give them more storyline. And they also didn't over the top make fun of their characters. Slater and Jesse, we dive deeper into their characters in this. I liked that. Season 1, it was just tongue-in-cheek, make fun of this. Oh, tongue-in-cheek, I'm so excited. We filtered that in. Filtered in little jokes that we can make that would reference, nostalgia jokes. We will make fun of ourselves for doing this film, or TV show. They didn't do that here. They just advanced their characters, which I liked much more. We were just seeing Zach, just seeing Kelly now, what they're doing with their lives. That was awesome. That gives me a bonus. That was my biggest detriment to Season 1. Season 1, you just made fun of Zach and Kelly and Slater and all of them. This one, no. We got rid of that. We're not going to make fun of ourselves just to throw you nostalgia. Good job, Saved by the Bell Season 2. Please hold. Thank you. The kid... No, I'll say the adults. I feel like they did not know what they needed to do with Zach in this, honestly. And Kelly, they gave her some stuff to do, almost like they're setting up for Season 3. They really want Kelly to do some more in Season 3. Spano and Slater really drove the storyline, and I actually enjoyed what they did with their characters. It was more of the back and forth. Writing's on the wall, these two are going to get together. Jesse, Slater. But they didn't do it right away. And they held on to the whole old premise of the back and forth. They're always fighting. They're back and forth. Bing. Right? So that was good. I liked all of that. And it didn't even wrap up nice and tidy. The bonus, the absolute bonus, Lark Voorhees, baby. She was back for multiple episodes. We got Lisa back. Please bring her back more and more. You could kind of tell they didn't give her a lot of lines. And I wonder if she was like, listen, folks, I haven't acted in 25 years. Can you just kind of ease me back in? I loved it. I loved everything about it. Bring her back again next season, please, for more. Maybe she gets kind of hooked a little bit. She's like, oh, I remember how to do this. I can still be Lisa Turtle, and bring her back for even more stuff. That was awesome. The reason she came back the first episode was because they pay a little homage to Screech and Dustin Diamond. And they kind of like all get together to kind of celebrate and have a celebratory milkshake in Screech's honor. They throw out a couple of little highlights of like, hey, remember when Screech did this? Remember when Screech did that? They could have done that for an hour, right? And then they actually give you a little montage of Screech all the way from Miss Bliss days through high school. Him, winning Miss Bayside, and him, with Kevin. Oh, Kevin's back, the robot. Fun fact, I met Kevin once. My cousins in Georgia lived next door to the man who built Kevin the robot. One day we were visiting them down in Atlanta, and he came over and found out I was a big Saved by the Bell fan. And he was like, come on over. And I got to meet Kevin the Robot. But he's in this. They bring back Kevin the Robot, which was awesome. Okay, to the show. The kids are fine. The storyline that they give the kids is better. Again, it wasn't as campy, cheesy, make fun of Saved by the Bell this year. It was, all right, here's our storyline. Here's what we're doing. Daisy and Mac Morris, their love is it's gonna happen. They're kind of setting up as the next Kelly and Zach. My issue with Mac Morris is he's very owning that I'm the prankster and I've got to do it wrong. Whereas his dad, Zach, I feel like everyone knew that about him, but they still loved him. Whereas Mac, everyone's just like, all right, we know him. He's gonna do something to mess it up. I feel he hasn't earned that yet, whereas Zach earned that in the first couple of years. That's fine. All the other characters, Alicia Pascal Pena, she does a really good job. She's giving us a character arc with her becoming bisexual, and it's great because it's not a beat you over the head with this. It's just, that's who I am. And that's fine. In today's age, I know being a high schooler and making that decision might be a little too early for some people's ideals. That's a different combo for another day. But I think they handle that really well. Dexter Darden, who plays Devante, this kid's got talent. Like, I'm waiting for this kid to not do this and do something where he can show off his singing and his dancing, and he's also got a huge athletic build. Like, this kid, I think we're going to see him do some major acting things down the road. Heskeria Velasquez, she's Daisy. She's doing a great job. Josie Tota as Lexi. I think she probably has the most fun with her role. Here's the bottom line. All these kid actors, high school actors, 20-somethings, are doing a really good job. They're doing a fine job. This season was better. I think I'm talking a lot about Saved by the Bell season 2 here. That doesn't need to be reviewed this heavily. But I enjoyed this season way better than season 1. It didn't spend 60% of the show making fun of the original show for its nostalgia. It gave you nostalgia. We went up against Valley. The whole season is predicated on going up against Valley. Rock on. The whole season, they have Bayside Tiger shirts. And I told the wife, I was like, Christmas list, please. I don't have a Bayside Tiger t-shirt. Just an OG shirt. So can you run to Hot Topic and grab me one? Is Hot Topic still a store? It is. It's got to be, right? Anyway, John Michael Higgins. That man knows his lane as an actor. He is this over-the-top, cheesy, slapsticky, kind of raunchy sometimes actor. And he does a solid, phenomenal job with it every single time. And he does so again in here. They give him a little bit more depth, actually, in this time. But there were a couple of scenes where it got too cheesy, where I was like, oh, don't let him be cheesy. Let him win the day. Let him get the girl. He earned it. We'll have a season 3. I'm looking forward to season 3. And I'm looking forward to, I almost, this is sound funny, I almost wish they would give me a spinoff with the adults. Give me that show. So I can just watch the adults Saved by the Bell. And then when I want to, then come back and watch the kids. Everything about season 2 is far superior to season 1. I hope they keep rocking and rolling with it. I'm enjoying it. I kind of not hate watched it, but nostalgia watched season 1 to stay with it. But in this one, I liked it better. I actually enjoyed my time with Saved by the Bell season 2. On the Peacock now. So if you need to grab the cock for 10 episodes, finally, let's get back to the Beatles. This was talked about a long time ago. The Get Back Beatles documentary. Peter Jackson's been putting this thing together. And this was supposed to release, and then they pushed it. And then I think they used the COVID pushings of films to their advantage. I felt like it may not have been ready. It's kind of the writing on the wall that I was picking up. But either way. This drops, 3-part series, dropped on Disney Plus over the weekend. Here's what I didn't know. It opens up and it says there were 150 hours of audio, 60 plus hours of video footage that they got from this documentary. I did not know that episode 1, 2.5 hours. Episode 3 hours. And then episode 3, almost just under 2.5 hours. 7+ hours this whole thing was. And yeah, I watched every minute of it. I got through all of it because it was very interesting. So that should tell you, I knocked out 7 hours of this documentary over the weekend because it was very interesting, and it was an easy watch when they're doing the music and whatnot. Now, this is about them breaking up, and I didn't know that either. I didn't know that's what this was about. This is essentially about the end, their final performance together, and their final times together as a band. And there's multiple tension-filled conversations that happened that they catch on video. What they were trying to do, they were going to do a live show. They hadn't performed in years. It's 1969. They hadn't performed since 66, since their world tour. They're done with it, right? For the most part, folks know the story. The Beatles were done touring. They didn't want to tour anymore. They still put out albums. They say, all right, let's go out with a bang. Let's come back and give them a live show. We'll tape it, put it on the air live, whole thing live. So like, tough to do live for us because a lot of our music, especially now, has layered tracks. You know, Paul does the guitar, the piano, and the vocals, and they layer that. So now how is he going to do it? So they're trying to figure that out. Here's what we'll do. We'll write 14 new songs. Let's write some new songs that will perform live in front of a live studio audience, literally. So they get this warehouse where they film stuff in London and say, we're going to use this warehouse space. Let's practice here, and we've got to do it in 2 weeks. 2 weeks' time. So we would be together all day long, writing and singing and eating lunch. I say that because anyone that watched it, I feel like every day Paul's like, so we'll go to lunch, and then we'll come back after lunch. After lunch, then every single episode he talks about going to lunch multiple times. We'll grab lunch, then we'll come back. I'm like, you guys should be porkers the way you guys talk about food as much as you do. Either way. Watching their process of writing some of these songs, watching how they go through the music first, then the lyrics on top of the music. How should we flow into this? I mean, McCartney, when I find myself in times of trouble, just like, wait, I was like, wait a second, Paul, you didn't have all the lyrics to Let It Be written down first and then the piano? Like, you kind of just went and then lyricked it? Like, some of the Beatles lyrics are so well renowned for their in-depth and their thought-provoking, that it's like they had to have sat down with like a poet and a lyricist and figured, and this proves no. It also proves that Paul McCartney's freaking genius. He and Lennon put these songs together, just absolute mind-blowing. There is a scene in this where Linda is there, and lots of people are there, sitting around. And everyone's just chit-chatting, whatever. And Paul's over there just chilling on the piano. It might have been during a Let It Be scene, to be honest. And everyone kind of, one at a time, stops. And they can't help but gravitate to watching him just playing, just singing, to nobody. And he's just in his own little world, just tickling the ivories and doing this. And someone looks at Linda, they're like, "Oop, Linda." And she's like, sorry, I sometimes just get caught up, watching him be a genius, and I don't blame her. I probably would too had I been in that studio. So it's a very interesting watch because it is them breaking up. It is the end of the Beatles is what this document. So the reason we have this footage is because they were going to film it and make a movie out of this live thing. That was the job. They were going to do this whole thing about it. But they wound up catching their breakup on film. And that's why we've never really seen this footage to now, because it's essentially about them breaking up. If you guys remember, after they broke up in 1970 and Paul left, he sued the band to dissolve the Beatles' name. So therefore, the Beatles' name could never. So that way, George Harrison couldn't go off and be like, "Hey, I'm just going to still use the Beatles' name. I just got a new lead singer. Cool." And so that's probably why we didn't see any of this stuff, because they're like, "No, get rid of that footage. We don't need people seeing how, why, X, Y, and Z we were breaking up. That's gone. We're not making money off of that anymore. Don't put that together," type thing. So that's pretty wild that this is what this essentially was about. There's multiple times where George leaves the band. He's like, "I'm out. I'm done. See you. Goodbye." They have to go to his house and bring him back in, all within this 2 week span. Now, the 2 weeks turns into a month because they can't figure out how they want to do it. And I don't want to give away what then happens at the end. They wind up, obviously performing in some capacity, but this is what you should watch it for. There are parts, it's 7 hours. So there are a lot of scenes in there where it's just them just riffing and starting over and riffing and figuring it out. And that's cool to watch. And if any musicians are out there, they're probably loving it and just eating it up, watching the Beatles go through the process of music making. But then it filters in the drama. And the guy who's kind of their new manager now, I can't remember the gentleman's name. he didn't talk the best way. Like, they'd be having conversations, and he would always just jump in and just be like, so if we were to make a decision right now, yes or no, the Beatles are a band going forward. Yes or no, we are going to perform tomorrow night. Just ballparking, I want to make a decision right now. It's like, buddy, read the room. Like, they're all screaming, hooting, hollering at each other for the most. Well, let me take that back. For the amount of disagreeing that they did, they were very adult about it and very professional, where they just said their piece. And there's times where, like, you know, when we were on that trip, there was a lot of fibbing going on. I think we weren't truthful with each other, and now we are being truthful. But it's crazy because you hear them say things like, yeah, this is the end of the Beatles. Yes, we're breaking up. You know, we're done, and we're going to have to dissolve and whatever. And then they bring in other people to come play different instruments, and like, we could just get this guy to come in, and he could be the fifth Beatle. And it's like, that's weird, because that's like a very, you know, in the pantheon of pop culture, like talking about, oh, that guy could be the fifth Beatle. You know what I mean? And to hear the Beatles saying that was weird and wild. And it's a very enjoyable thing. You know, I wish there was a director's cut in the other direction where it's only like a 2.5 hour. Like, you could do the whole thing in only 2.5. Like, we don't need 2+ hours if you add it all together of them just riffing. Let's bring it where you have just a lot of the conversation and the advancing of their breaking up. I enjoyed it. I'm a big Beatles fan. It was wild to watch. I will say this. When Yoko was there, you could like feel the tension. You could easily feel the tension anytime Yoko was in the room. And it was just, also, it was like, I don't know, we've all had that dude that he's one of the boys and then they meet a girl and all of a sudden it's like, buddy, you can still have a girlfriend and still hang out. Like, that's allowed. You can go and get married, but also hang out with your pals. And B, she doesn't need to come when we hang out. Like, have some separate time. That's life advice, folks. Life advice from Brian. Deep thoughts from Brian. If you have a spouse, also have time away from them. It helps. Trust me. Don't spend every second together. Either way. Get Back, Beatles doc. It's on Disney Plus. It's 7 hours of pure Beatling. You can also get the music from it. And like them talking and stuff like that, trying to figure out how to do it on Amazon. If you have Amazon Music, I noticed, and it's like 60 songs, but a lot of it is like them trying, like, you know, hey Paul, run it back one more time. Let's go do that thing. Okay, learn to find myself, and you know, them getting the lyrics to Get Back. JoJo was a man from Tucson, Arizona. Tucson, Arizona. Okay, Tucson, Arizona. You know, it's pretty wild. Pretty wild. I very much so enjoyed it. And you guys are all welcome that's the only amount of singing you got out of me on there for the Beatles. All right. House of Gucci. Meh review. Like, positive-ish. For you guys just listening, I gave a thumbs up while I said meh. So, if you want to, also subscribe to our YouTube. Also, Saved by the Bell, I give it a positive review. I enjoyed Saved by the Bell Season 2 much better than Season 1. Very much enjoyed it. If they trimmed it down to 8 eps, though, I think it would be helpful. Might be a smart thing to do next round. And then Get Back. Folks, if you had the 7 hours to invest, excuse me, if you want to chip away at it type thing, I implore. I will say, I did not think I was going to make the 7 hours by the end of the weekend. But yesterday I put it on, let the wife sleep in a little bit, and then she comes downstairs, and I figured I would like cut it when she came down. But she came down and immediately jumped right into it too. And she had not watched the previous 6 hours. So her and I wound up, you know, finishing the rest hour and a half that I had to go because she was enjoying it and enjoying watching it. It was pretty wild. Those are our reviews for this week. Now we're going to move along to story time. Story time! I like story time, new segment that we have here. It's not going to happen every week, but I like to do a little story time, a little personal deep dive. Spider-Man Day was yesterday, as you folks are most likely listening to. So it was Monday of this week. And they're dropping the Spider-Man No Way Home tickets on Spider-Man Day. They added it to the trailer. I don't recall this being a huge thing going forward, or going backwards, I should say. You know, Avengers Endgame, Avengers Day, buy your tickets starting on the 28th. No, I don't recall this in the past. I could be way wrong, but regardless, this was part of their promotion. Buy your tickets. Monday, the 29th, they go on sale. That meant midnight. Okay, I'll stay up. So I did. Stay up until midnight last night, as I'm recording, 2 nights ago. Stay up till midnight. So that, boom, 12 o'clock I can get it. My daughter and I are going to go see it together. We have basketball practice on the 17th, Friday the 17th, and then we're going to go to whatever showing they have right after that. 8:30 practice over. So anything after 9 o'clock, bing, we're in. We looked at the times, 9:45, there's a time slot. We're going to hit that up. 12 o'clock comes, jump on my AMC app, not working. That's odd. That sucks. Something's up. Check Fandango, not working. That's odd. That sucks. My wife is next to me, and she's like, what's going on? I explain. She's like, ooh, it looks like you're not alone. It's happening to everybody. Can't get on. Can't get on. I was like, uh-oh, it must have crashed the site. So all the people buying the Spider-Man tickets crashed the site. Those of you that went through this experience, too, hit me up on the side and let me know your experience, because this happened. This was insane. This movie ticket buying experience. Spider-Man crashes the site. Can't get on. Now, it's like 12:15, 12:20. Bing, I got on. I'm on to AMC. Tells me 52-minute wait. 52-minute wait just to get seats in one specific theater. Like, it wasn't, I want seats, tell me what times are available. I clicked, I want the Dolby with the recliners at 9:45 p.m. at this theater. And it gave me a 52-minute wait. So that 52-minute wait, I think, was they were processing so many tickets at the same time. So now I'm like, all right, let me stay up. I put on Seinfeld on Netflix is on. I've been rewatching that for fun over the last couple of days. I'm on to season 2. Let's have at it. We're going to watch some old Seinfeld while I'm now waiting for 52 more minutes. Rock on. Now my wife's like, hey, look, people are just driving to their local AMC and buying them from the kiosk, and they're getting their tickets. And I'm posting pictures of them doing it. And my local AMC is only 9 minutes away. I was like, should I put my slippers on? I don't know slippers. Should I go in my pajamas and buy these tickets? No, I was too lazy. Also, at that point, I had a couple of whiskeys, so that ended that thought process. I wasn't going to drive to do that. Anyway, whittles down to 29 minutes. At the 29-minute mark remaining, all of a sudden it goes beep, and you see the little progression bar. Beep. Now it says you have over an hour of wait. I'm like, what did I do? Why did I just lose 30 plus minutes? How did this just happen? Why am I now over an hour? This is nuts. Okay, more Seinfeld for me. I'm pot committed. At this point. We're now pushing 1 a.m. Waiting. Now we get it back down to, the wife went to sleep, by the way. She's done. We get it down to a minute. We've made it the whole way. I'm like, all right, here we go. We made it another hour and a half. We're now into this thing. It is now 2:45 in the morning, and it's gotten down to a minute. By the way, when it said an hour, that was on an hour in real life. It's kind of like when your file is uploading and it says 11 minutes until upload, but really that 11 minutes is actually 17 minutes. It's just giving you like a guesstimate, right? Why would they change math? Math is math. It gets down. It says under a minute. Bing. Under a minute, and you can watch the progression bar, and then as soon as it fills up, turns off the app. Just goes to my blank screen on my phone. App is being closed, like as if I close out the app. Completely kicks me out. Now I'm done. I'm out. I said, I don't know what I'm going to do here. If it sells out, it's not like I'm not going to see it, but I wanted to see it Friday night, opening night with my daughter. She's a gigantic Tom Holland fan. It was going to be a daddy-daughter thing. I now go to sleep at 2:45 in the morning. 4:30, wife wakes up to feed the baby. When she's done feeding the baby, 4:30, 4:40ish now, she wakes me up and says, hey, I just checked my phone. You can now buy the tickets. Really? Thank you for waking me up at 4:30 in the morning. I jump onto my phone, boop, 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 get the tickets. Theater almost fully sold out. Barely got seats, but I was able to get the showing that I wanted, the 9:45 near me. Now you guys know where I'm going to be, because some of you know where I live and which AMC is close to me. Whatever. Come. We'll have a fun time. We got the tickets. That was a long way to say that I bought Spider-Man tickets, right? That was the craziest ticket buying procedure I've ever done in my life. To that note, leads us to, how much are you guys going to predict this movie is going to make going forward? 357 is the record of Avengers Endgame. Pretty sure that'll never be beaten. I will go on. It will never be beaten. If we were not in a pandemic, I would be giving pause right now thinking maybe it would get beaten, because I never had trouble buying my Avengers Endgame ticket. I saw it twice opening weekend. Did not have an issue either time. I saw it 3 times the first week it was out, because then the wife and I went and saw it like the Friday night after, Friday of the second weekend. Never once had an issue buying a ticket. Those theaters were all sold out. I just had issues buying tickets. Your sites crashed. 4 different sites from what I read crashed. IMDb, Fandango, AMC, and one other one I forgot to write down. Think about that when you're sending in your guesses for how much money Spider-Man No Way Home is going to make opening weekend domestically. All right, we are all done with story time. Let's move on to the casting couch. This Fool is a Hulu comedy. Already has Chris Estrada attached to it, but they have added Fabian Alomar and Michael Imperioli. Okay. I like Michael Imperioli, as long as he doesn't get in a car accident and have someone pinch his nose afterwards. Can't believe it. R.I.P. Salvation has added Skeet Ulrich. The reason I put this out is Skeet. Just hit puberty on that. Skeet. Skeet Ulrich is having himself like a couple of months here. He's just been added to Salvation, which is like psychological thriller. That'll be filming soon and then coming out probably next year. He's also in a natural disaster thriller called Supercell, which releases soon. And then also in Blood, which is a dramatic thriller. He's in these thrillers with Michelle Monaghan, and that releases, I believe, next month. So Skeet, baby, and I know he's been on that he was on that Riverdale show, so it's not like he went away after Scream. He's had a career, but the guy is going to be all over the place coming up. Good for Skeet. The Idol, HBO series created by Sam Levinson and The Weeknd, has added the leads Susanna Son and Lily Rose Depp. Please circle that name on your bingo cards. We will be saying Lily Rose Depp's name multiple times. Duel has a Christmas special coming out December 16th. That is Days of Our Lives. Duel Christmas special, a very Salem Christmas. Why am I talking about this? Because Alison Sweeney will be back to reprise her role as Sammy on Days of Our Lives. Bum, bum, bum. Fun factoroo, folks. I used to be a big Duel watcher way back in the day. Back when Alison Sweeney was like the main villain. Her and Stefano were big time villains, and she was trying to get in between Austin. She wasn't trying to date Austin. She was trying to date... Oh, crap. Why can't I think of the guy's name? Or it was Austin. She was after Austin. He was married to the girl, and they changed actresses mid-thing. Either way. Shoot, I can't remember. Oh, my siblings are going to kill me. We used to watch it all the time. One summer vacay, we watched... Oh, we did not miss a Days of Our Lives. NBC, 1 o'clock. That was a day. Anyway, Alison Sweeney will be back as Sammy. I think she won, like, Villain of the Year, like, 3 years in a row. Good for her. I have no idea what she's done since then. I hope a huge career, but she'll always be Sammy to me. And then lastly, the Midas Man, circling full circle back to the Beatles, is about Brian Epstein, who was the Beatles manager. And some people say when he died, 1966, it totally changed the Beatles. And that some people say it is true because remember they went from the mop head cuts and all that to then the 60s and the long hair and all that. They totally changed their image and they lost a lot of listeners and then gained more. And a lot of people credit that to when Epstein passed away because he ran that band to the top, baby. Either way, Jay Leno will be in this playing Ed Sullivan. I'm going to be on Ed Sullivan. When I first read this, I thought it said Jay Leno was playing Epstein. And I was like, wait, Epstein died. I think he was 35 years old when he died. Why is Leno? And then I actually read the words like you're supposed to do. But Jay Leno playing Ed Sullivan. That kind of makes sense, right? He knows a thing or two about hosting a late night talk show as Ed Sullivan did. Midas Man coming out next year sometime. Done with the casting couch. On to our Hollywood news. Starting off with the sad, the theater lost two big names. First up, Jeffrey Johnson, the Tony Award-winning director for Cats. What's up, Shy? Oh, man, happy birthday, Shy. Just remembered. I'm saying this in the middle of an RIP section. Stand by. Pause. Cats and Les Mis. Jeffrey Johnson was a director there. Phenomenal job. Won multiple Tonys for his directorial stuff on stage. And then number two, Stephen Sondheim passed away. 91 years old. Full life. I mean, the man is a Broadway legend. That's like an understatement to call someone a legend. He has a theater named after him. He has some charity things named after him. Charity drives, the Stephen Sondheim stuff. And he did West Side Story, obviously. Sweeney Todd. He wrote the songs for Dick Tracy that Madonna sang in Dick Tracy. If I sat here and listed all the good stuff all the stuff they did, we'd be here for another hour and a half. But R.I.P. to both Jeffrey Johnson and Stephen Sondheim. Crazy that Sondheim dies the same week that Tick, Tick, Boom gets released, because in Tick, Tick, Boom, Sondheim is portrayed in that very prominently. Like he is a major influence in that film. So just kind of weird. But he died the day after Thanksgiving. Very sad, but again, 90 plus years old. So all right, so out of the bad and into the good. Shy, Friday Night Movie Pod. Good pal. Happy birthday to you, buddy. Not even sure if you're listening anymore. I hope you are. But he has a great podcast of his own, Friday Night Movie Pod. He and his two sisters. And this week, I think for his birthday, they had the parents on. They had mom and dad on the show. Pretty wild. I've yet to listen, but I saw they did a whole live streaming thing. So good for them. Happy birthday, Shy. All right, Netflix is bringing back the Power Rangers Cool, right? They're just bringing back the old Power Rangers apps. No. Oh, no. They're creating a whole Power Rangers universe. We're going to have multiple shows, animated and live action, different things that you can check out. Newer Power Rangers, some older Power Ranger stuff. So if you're into the Power Rangers, or if you're into the newer Power Rangers stuff, Power Rangers Deluxe, Power Rangers XXL, whatever it's called now, Netflix is all in on that. So there's going to be more news about that, like when things start filming and casting and dropping all of this. Henry Cavill came out with a video the other day, and he low-key dropped a little... The way the video dropped, I think a lot of people were waiting for him to like, oh, by the way, I'm Superman and Man of Steel 2, bye. Like, it was that type of video. But the, oh, by the way, that he dropped was, all right, just finished filming Enola Holmes Part 2. That is done. So, there you go. Enola Holmes Part 2. Cavill's roles are done, so that means it should be wrapping up shortly. That was a low-key great film. Really enjoyed it. My daughter loved that movie. Looking forward to Part 2. Kathleen Kennedy, how many people get mad when I say that name, has just promised that there will be Star Wars 10, 11, and 12 films. They are in the works. They are happening. My stance on those is they never should let Rian Johnson do Episode 8. They should have let J.J. Abrams do 7, 8, 9 together. Let him keep his continuity, his vision that he had, because I really liked his vision. Here's the funny part. I don't hate Rian Johnson's vision. I think his vision would fit perfectly now, 10, 11, and 12 going forward, because now you're getting away from the Skywalkers. Rian Johnson tried to do that in the middle of a Skywalker saga. Right in the middle, we're going to talk about how we don't need them anymore. That's the main reason I did not like that film, and it did not fit for me. Had they let Abrams just do 7, 8, 9, we're good to go. Here's your story. I enjoyed that story. He could have added more depth into the story that finished in the 9th one. You know, the parts that were like, oh, they didn't build that up. Could have been built. Now you bring Rian Johnson. Now he says, all right, I'm going to take it to the next level. I'm going to take it away from the Skywalkers. That's awesome. Do that. Go, other people can have the Force and other people can be Jedi, that kind of thing. So, no word on any of this going forward. No word on if Finn and Rey and BB-8 are going to be in these going forward. No word on even if who's going to direct or who's going to write it. But she says 3 more are coming. Apparently Star Wars does everything in 3s. Which, oh man, does that mean Mandalorian Season 3 will be the final season of Mandalorian? I don't want that. No. I want like 30 Mandalorians. Lastly, Sony has come out, speaking of 3s, and says that we are doing 3 more Spider-Man films after this. Like, No Way Home is not it. We have it in the works. We are ready to go with another trilogy of Spider-Man films. Is that with Tom Holland? The heavy rumor is that, he has said after this, his Spider-Man is going to change after No Way Home. This is it. He might be done. His contract is up, so he might be out. Are they saying that they're recasting now? Is Sony going to cast anew? Is writing on the wall for Tom Holland? He's done so? All right, done with the Hollywood news. Now it's time for our trivia time winner from last week. Now, don't forget, this week's trivia time is the hooting and the hollering at the restaurant scene there. The yes, and then the I'll have what she's having. Can I get the who said that? What movie am I talking about there? And can you give me the actress that said I'll have what she's having also? You can give me the actress with the yes and the yes. I'm not redoing it. Anyone that's wanted me to read, no, not doing it again. But our trivia time winner from last week is nobody. Nobody got it. And this was a low-key one for Craigie and myself. It's cold and it's wet, and that's about it. This is a reference to a random Full House episode when DJ is trying to lose weight. So she makes herself water on a stick treats, snacks, if you will. It's ice cubes, right? She's just eating ice cubes. And so she puts the little popsicle stick inside of them and then has the ice cubes. And then Aunt Becky comes down. Ooh, are we allowed to say Aunt Becky's name? I don't know. She's in jail. And she's like, what are you doing? She tells her, well, this is my snack for the day. And it's cold and it's wet, and that's about it. I randomly said that one day many moons ago, and good buddy Craig picked up on it. And we instantly, do we just become best friends? So anyway, I threw that out there last week. Could anybody pull that? It is a deep cut pull. Deep cut pull, and nobody did. That's totally okay. This week I expect to get some trivia time winners. 667-365-8253. You can text or leave the voicemail. If you would like to leave your impression, I would love to hear it. And then you can also hit the DMs on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. Feel free. Would love to hear from you guys. All right, DC discussion time. Remember I mentioned Power Rangers? How many of you guys had a massive crush on the Pink Ranger back in the day? Okay, put your hands down because everyone should be the answer there, male and female. Either way, she will be directing an episode of Superman and Lois. Rock on. That's freaking great. Now that show comes out in January. We're less than 2 months from that coming, so I'm sure her directorial debut shall be soon. Can't wait for that. We got a Super Pets trailer. You know, it didn't look as awful. I've never. You guys know I am a giant Superman comic reader still. I still get the hard copies. I switched over to digital for a while, but I don't know, something about holding an actual comic in hand. Although they're taking up a lot of space, so I'm thinking of going back to digital. Don't tell my store that I have my box there. I might have to fib. I'm gonna have to fib and tell them that I don't I'm moving. I'm gonna have to tell them, hey, I can't do the box anymore with the subscriptions because I'm moving. Sorry guys, because I won't have the heart to just say no. Is that weird? Anyway. I've never liked crypto. I've never liked the Super Pets. To me, it was like a campy 70s, 80s thing where they're desperate to get in some viewers, desperate to bring in a new crop of youth because the youth that originally read all the comics were now old. And remember, not until 11 years ago was it cool to read comics, right? Stuffed in many a locker I was. Either way, the trailer looks fine. It's funny because the news dropped that we found out that John Krasinski was doing the voice of Superman. And then the very next day, boom, here's a trailer with John Krasinski doing the voice of Superman, and you can hear his voice easily in that. It could be fine. It doesn't, it's funny, my mom saw it and somehow sent the link to it. How my mom figured that out, texted it to us. I was like, who's in? On the big family thread. She's like, who's in? And I wrote back, my son. I was like, my son is. You can take him. So maybe I'll get away with not having to watch this if my mom can just have a grandmother-grandson day. Either way, it didn't look as god-awful as I was expecting. Some parts of it actually look kind of funny. I don't know. It might be worth a deep dive. One more thing about Henry Cavill, man. He's been stoking the flames of Man of Steel to a little more than the norm. And this isn't even Restore the Snyderverse stuff. He was kind of mum on it for a while, but now he's kind of been like, yeah, sure, I'd love to. What do you got? Here's what I want to do with the character. So, I don't know. Smoke, there's fire? Maybe? Don't tease me. Done with the DC discussion on the Marvel Minute. The heavy rumor that dropped this week is that Tom Holland plans to do 3 more Spider-Man movies. What? Wait a second, Brian. Didn't you just say in the Hollywood news section that Sony said they're doing 3 more Spider-Man films? Math is math. So, rumor plus a rumor equals not a rumor. One thing, Sony execs come straight out. We are doing 3 more Spider-Man films. Now we get Tom Holland's people saying he won't be done after No Way Home. He will be around for at least 3 more films as Spider-Man. Now, that's the hiccup, right? Is he 3 more Spider-Man movies, or is he in 3 more films as Spider-Man? Because that's Civil War, that's Avengers Endgame, and Avengers Infinity War. I know I didn't do those in order. There's 3 films that Spider-Man is in. Not Spider-Man movies, right? So that's how Marvel, for the most part, but also DC, how they got away with getting actors in certain different roles, right? The whole reason Henry Cavill wasn't actually in Shazam was because he was contracted for 1 more film, and had he showed up on Shazam, that was the end of his contract, then DC easily could have walked away from him. That's why you only saw from the neck down. Thanks for that shot. I don't know. Writing's on the wall that Holland's not going anywhere. I do feel that Holland would probably want to film these as quickly as possible, and maybe Marvel wants him to film them as quickly as possible before the dude. Granted, he still looks like he's 16, but at some point he's not, and unless he's using Paul Rudd's aging cream, that he's going to just start getting to an older point. Now, there are stories to be told with an older Spider-Man. No one has ever done that in live action. We haven't gotten the older Spider-Man stuff. Garfield touched on it a wee bit, but feel free. Continue it. I love Holland as Spider-Man. I would love to see him do Spider-Man-y things outside the MCU, if that makes sense. Where we're not dealing with Iron Man. We're not dealing with Doctor Strange. We're not dealing with, all of that nonsense. Just give me some Spider-Man-y missions that don't fully deal with Nick Fury driving things. You know, that's where I'm at. So, sorry, we had a little technical difficulty there. So we might have had a little hiccup. Okay, Kirsten Dunst came out and she talked about the pay gap back when she did the Spider-Man films. I mean, yes, that I probably guarantee that was a thing, 100%. And luckily now it's getting less and less a thing. I'm trying to figure out how to say that sentence. Because people have now come out and made it aware publicly that there's massive pay gaps, and there were, and Now actors are saying, I refuse to act unless my co-stars are making the exact same as me. People are now seeing the writing on the wall. I don't know how much benefit of doubt we can give male actors in this. Like, I almost feel, I thought this back when this was a thing. The company would have said, hey, Brian, we're going to pay you $100,000 to do this role. I would have said, cool, thank you very much. Let's do it. I highly doubt it would have been in my thought process in anywhere of, well, what's Beverly making? Because I think she has almost as many lines as me. And B, her character is just as important to the story as mine, even though I'm the lead. So is she getting 100K too? Like, I'm not sure that thought process would have occurred there. Maybe that's me being a dummy. I've been called worse. But I think now we're reaching a point in Hollywood where that is a thought process, where actors are being offered, hey, here's what we're offering up. And they're now responding with, rock on. I read the script and looks like Beverly is more important, even though she's not the lead. She's getting the same cash, right? Or at least cash comparable. You're not giving her whatever. So I think that's where we're at. This does suck for dunce. This sucks for actresses forever, where they did not get this pay gap. The only good, in quotes, to come out of this is that it is now a known thing, and hopefully it goes away after a while. It would be nice if some studio like gave retribution. They're like, you know what, Kirsten, you should have gotten paid for the trilogy of Spider-Man films. We should have paid you X. So here's a bonus check that we gave you. That'll never happen. That's dumb. I did start watching Hawkeye, guys. I'm 2 eps in. I'm enjoying it so far. Once it wraps, and it's only 6 episodes, so 4 more weeks to go. Once it fully wraps, I'll do a full review of it. I will tell you, so far, I'm in. What I think I like the most is this is not a villain that's going to destroy the world. We've had so many comic films recently of a villain destroying the world. The whole world's going to end. The whole universe is going to end if we don't stop them. You know what I kind of want sometimes? I want the comics I grew up on where the hero just has to beat a bad guy who maybe is just taking over a city, or maybe just like has an underground, robbery market that they have to thwart or something. I just finagled the word thwart into this episode. You're welcome. That, I think, is why I'm liking Hawkeye so far. Only 2 eps. That is going to wrap up the Marvel Minute. Now it's time to go forward. Okay, not a lot this week. Not a lot at all. Wolf, that Lily Rose Depp and George McKay movie where they're in the institution because they think they're animals, drops limited. Also, Silent Night, Lily Rose Depp, Keira Knightley, Annabelle Wallace that also drops into theaters this week. And then 'Twas the Night, not with Lily Rose Depp. She's not in this one. It drops this week. And Red Rocket. Those are your theater ones. Red Rocket, writer-director Sean Baker, who actually does good things. And then Simon Rex is in this. Simon Rex is a washed-up porn star. Washed-up porn star is in the thing. Is in the bio. So what do you do to become a washed-up? Sorry, kid. You just don't got it anymore. Sorry. It's not working for us. We talked to your co-stars. And it's just now, it definitely wasn't working for them either. So you're out. You can't. I don't even want to. We'll get an explicit rating if we go, why? You can't do porn anymore. You're just not good at it. Whereas once you could do the porn. Don't they have medicine for that? Fluffers on set? Help you out? That's it, guys. Silent Night, Wolf, Red Rocket, and 'Twas the Night in theaters. Netflix has Elves coming out. Amazon Prime has Harlem coming out this week. There is a litany of Christmas things, Christmas specials. Maybe that's a big reason why we don't have a lot of releases this week, is because a lot of folks know, or the studios know, you know what, people are going to be diving into those Christmas movies again. Diving right back in, jumping in. I know we had them, as we were decorating, we had them running, minus while we watched the Giants beat the Eagles. Giants beat the Eagles? I mentioned that? Giants beat the Eagles. But we had the Christmas movies on in the background as well. So maybe these studios are like, you know what, we'll take a weekend off because the following, bada bang, we're going to get into some good stuff. We're going to really get into. Do not forget, guys, Spider-Man giveaway is happening. You're going to get some Take Two Podcast merch mailed or maybe delivered to you. Take Two Podcast merch and some cool Spider-Man stuff coming up on our socials later on. Probably this week I will show you pictures of actual stuff that you'll be getting as a prize. Just a fun prize. So Spider-Man giveaway, Take Two Podcast giveaway. You need to tell me how much money Spider-Man No Way Home will make opening weekend domestic box office. Opening weekend domestic box office. That's it. Do not go over. Price is Right rules. Yodelady, yodelady. Didn't go with the Plinko. Went with the Yodeler as the old school game there from Price is Right. Give me that by the 14th. So text that in, 667-365-8253. Slide into the old DM or ruse for anything across the board. And let me know your thoughts on Take Two Podcast, what you guys think about the films that we reviewed today, and your choice for the Spider-Man No Way Home, and we can get you entered into the giveaway there. Episode 268. Thank you guys for joining. Thanks for listening. Tell your friends, and have a great night.